Hello. So this is our database project. Basically, we've implemented an app for management of ICC cricket statistics. So when you load up the screen, you are presented with a list of teams, and over here you can switch the tabs. So currently we're in the teams tab, as you can see from the heading here. We can switch over to the players. It shows us the stats of all the players that we have registered so far. There's a match history. Now, so far no matches have taken place, and there's scheduled fixtures, which so far there's none that have happened. So this would show upcoming matches, and this would show matches that have already passed, what was the results of those. And over here at the bottom, you can see that I'm logged in as a guest. So this is what you'd expect for a general user. But what we also implemented is that, okay, we need a way to sort of populate these matches and these teams and these players. So you can create various accounts. Now, one option for the account is the ICC manager. And so if I type in the corresponding password, now these passwords are all being checked from the database and they're stored in an encrypted format over there. But when I put in the password and enter it correctly, I log in as the ICC manager. And I have two new tabs here. One is pending matches, which shows me all the matches which are sort of scheduled, but what we're waiting for is approval from the various teams. So they're not guaranteed as of yet, but we're just in the phase of figuring these matches out. And on top of that, I can create teams as well. So I can select a country, I can select a category, a format, so T20I, ODI, or test, and I can give the team a password. All right. So I'm creating a South African men's T20I team, and I create this and it tells me that a new team's been created for South Africa men's T20I. Now, what I can do is I can now work from the perspective of that team manager. But before we do that, just a small show is that we can also add more matches. We can schedule more matches by providing a venue and selecting, okay, does it belong to a particular series? If we want, we can create new series. Does it belong to a particular tournament? And again, if we want, we can create new tournaments, but let's move on. So, okay, I created a team for South Africa. So I logged out from the ICC team and I'll try to log in to the South Africa Males T20I. Now I'm going to put in an incorrect password. Let's see what happens. And it says no such user exists because the password doesn't match. If I put in the right password again, I'll log in as the team manager. And here I have the pending matches table. I only see the matches for which I am involved in. So there were a bunch of pending matches, but they were like Pakistan, India, and I'm South Africa men's T20I, so I can't see those. I can add players to my team, um, and so I can also register new players overall, but I can also select from existing registered players. There's no players registered in South Africa men's, so that's why this table is empty. And then the very last thing that I would probably want to show is that if I go back, in fact, wait, yeah, if I go back into ICC Manager, sorry, ICC 1, 2, okay, and here, if I select okay, so the pending matches, there's a match between Pakistan and India, and it's not confirmed by India, and it is a men's test match. So if I now log in from India men's test and I just log in and I look into pending matches, I see the matches that are waiting for my approval. I can respond to this and I say yes. Now what will happen is this will move into scheduled fixtures. One mistake I made was that in the scheduled fixtures, this is in men's T20I. If I want to see the match that was just accepted, I have to go into test. And over here, I can see all of the test matches which are scheduled. And then lastly, when I log in back as an ICC manager, I can go into these scheduled fixtures and I can upload results of these. Now for this will require me to fill in a table where I'd select, okay, the players and I'd enter all of the results and I do that for both teams for really both the innings essentially. And then that way that would just populate the results, which would eventually populate the match history, and that would consequently allow players to have ratings because of their performance in various matches. And I can see this player's performance by just clicking on the player and pressing view player. I can see which formats they've played in, which categories, which country they belong to, but also their just general stats like runs, wickets, and so on. Um, and so that there's an underlying formula. It's arbitrary right now, but it's an underlying formula for calculating the rating, and a similar thing goes on for the rating of the teams themselves. If I go into ODI teams, there's this. And so these are all the various features we implemented in our ICC cricket management app. We've tried to make it as well-rounded and account for as many use cases as possible. And yeah, thank you.